This is the Average to Savage podcast with Paul Guarino. Everyone and anyone, athletes, celebs, and much more.
What's up, everybody? I'm back for another episode of the Average Savage podcast. Our special guest today is Coach Jason Brown. Coach, how's it going?
Good. How you doing, brother?
Good. I appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure.
So let's just go back into a time machine. And what was it like growing up in Compton, and how did you get into football?
Being the only white guy, man, it was probably different than most people are used to. But it is where I was from, and pretty much I became a product of my environment. I guess that's what I kind of tell people. I tell people all the time I'm a chameleon, man. I think I can get along with all walks of life, or figure it out at least, and kind of play the game. But, playing football and growing up in Compton, that's something what you want to do. And, there's more NBA players and NFL players from Compton, I think, than anywhere else, man, and at least significant ones at that. Yeah. But, we grew up doing that. You either gangbanged, you either went to school or played sports. And that was basically the three things, man. So, I tried to avoid the other ones. And, I went to school and played sports, and that was it. Stayed away from gangbanging and drugs and did the sport thing. So, it ended up becoming beneficial for me.
Yeah, definitely. And you were pretty good yourself, huh?
I tried to hold my own, I guess. I got a paycheck.
Yeah. You went All-American in Compton Community College. You had a few NFL tryouts. You played Arena Football League. What was playing Arena Football League like playing versus regular football?
Man, I loved the Arena League. It was probably the funnest time of my life professionally, speaking anyway. There was only 19 guys on a team. There was really no backbiting. Everybody was pretty tightly knitted. Went over to Hawaii 3 times a year. I mean, it was fun times, man. It was good. Really a tightly knitted group, man, and nobody had any ulterior motives. Everybody was about the team, and it was good times. Played for a guy named James Fuller, who played in the NFL for a long time for the Eagles, and I still keep in touch with him. And he's a Arena League coach back east now in Connecticut, or in Maine. I'm sorry, he's at Maine, I think. So it was fun, man. Good times. Fast pace. You know what I mean? Really, really fast for a condensed field, and it was hard to get used to for me coming off the 11-man, grid. But it was fun.
Gotcha. Now, after your playing career, what made you want to become a football coach?
When I got cut, probably the third time playing in Kansas City and various places, I kind of lost the love of playing football, man, and to be honest, and came home for the summer after being cut again. I went over to my alma mater, high school, Artesia High School, and I said, man, I want to start coaching it. And it's ironic, the first kid that I coached back in 03 or 02, 03 was a kid named Orlando Scandrick, who's had a successful career in Cowboys and Chiefs and the Redskins, but he ended up being my running back. And it kind of blossomed from there, man, and I ended up taking off and running. I just loved the aspect of helping kids, and I think coaching was my true passion and love, and not playing. So I found a new renowned love and kind of went from there. Gotcha.
You started coaching in high school first, right?
Yeah, I started coaching high school, man. I still had the option to go back and play arena ball, and I ran into my old athletic director when I went to high school, and he was still the AD there, some more than 10, 11 years later. And I just said, I want to get into it, man. And he got me the freshman coaching job, and so I took the freshman job and inherited a pretty decent crew of athletes, man. I had Eazy-E's son, the rapper, the legend. Compton legendary rapper for NWA. His son played for me. His name was Eric Wright also, and he was one of my other running backs, and we had a pretty good squad. We only had like 19 kids, man, and it was a good run we had there. And then I knew from there, I think I had the it factor, what I like to call it, and I moved on up the ranks really, really quick. So so I moved up the coaching ranks rather quickly compared to most. I mean, the next job I got was like an OC job at a JUCO, my alma mater, Compton College, the very next year. Then I took another job at Bourbon Day High School in Watts, a legendary basketball program. They are also really, really good football years ago. And I inherited a bunch of about 3 NFL guys: Akeem Ayers, who won the Super Bowl with the Patriots; Reggie Dunn, who ended up breaking a bunch of NCAA records and kick returns at University of Utah. He played for me at Compton College as well. But, we had some guys, man, and, it makes your job a lot easier when you got good players.
Yeah, definitely. So a guy from California, how did you end up in Kansas and you started coaching at Garden City before you went to Indy?
Well, it goes back before that, man. Only reason I went to Garden City, I was familiar with Western Kansas. So I played at Fort Hays State, which is in Western Kansas, about an hour and a half north of Garden City.
Okay.
So I played my college ball there after I went to Compton College. So I got a long story, man, that a lot of people don't know. But at Compton College, I signed a scholarship after there to go to University of New Mexico with a coach named Rocky Long, who's now the head coach of San Diego State. Well, I got there, and my clock was up, so I couldn't go Division I since I was a knucklehead before, and I ended up wasting a lot of time, and my academic clock started at a junior college called Rio Hondo back in '95. So they dropped football. We were told we'd get our year back. We never did. So that year ended up really basically screwing me. So I ended up, after junior college, I had to go Division II after New Mexico told me I couldn't go Division I. So I had to go sight unseen, basically, to Fort Hays State, which was, a great Division II, had beautiful facilities. They're in the Powerhouse Conference, the best in the country right now. Mm-hmm. Called it my AA. At the time when I played, we were in the RMAC, but we still facility-wise and, all that type of stuff, fan base, everything, considering Division II, it was a great spot. So I went there. They took care of me, man. They adopted me, man, to be honest. So Kansas was always pretty good to me. So I went there, and I kind of had the landscape. And then from there, I got a shot with Kansas City, 5.5 hours across the state. And so I was familiar with both parts. And so then I got the Garden City job later on. It wasn't that much of a shocker for me. And then Independence, obviously, was the first time in the southeastern part of the state for me. And so, that time was well spent, too.
Gotcha. So how'd you get the position at Independence Community College?
I think my time at Garden City basically put my name on the map. My name was on the map in California as far as being a recruiter and a coach in California. But California junior college is totally different. There's no dorms. There's no scholarships. There's no meal plan. Mm-hmm. Kansas has all that. So I had to pretty much adapt and overcome all that because I wasn't used to it. So it was new to me. But at Garden City, the 9 months I was there or whatever, I brought in about 126 players myself on scholarship, which was, eye-opening to everybody. So obviously they knew I could recruit basically anywhere. So that kind of opened all the upper administrators' eyes in Kansas, obviously. So when I resigned at Garden City and went back home to Long Beach, California, for a few months and kind of planned out my next move, Tammy Heldenhays at the time, who's the athletics director and vice president at Independence, she gave me a shout and just said, I came highly recommended from who is now the president at Garden City. And, he wrote me a letter of recommendation even though I resigned there because it was just a bad situation and everybody knew it. So I left there and came to Indy. She asked me for an interview if I would fly out. So I flew out to Independence and, she put me on like a 10-hour interview, man. It was pretty extensive and very well done. And she put me through an in-depth review, man. It was pretty good. So anyway, I did that and the rest is history.
Gotcha. And then going into the Last Chance U segment, like when did you know you were going to be on Last Chance U?
They called me one day, like I tell everybody in the story. They called me one day. I was in the office with my staff. They left a voicemail. They said who they were. I never watched the East Mississippi one, so I really didn't know anything much about it. I knew it was pretty good marketing for kids and young coaches. So I kind of said, I don't know if I'm interested. So my younger staff kind of talked me into at least taking the call. So I called them back the next day, spoke to a lady named Chelsea, great lady, man. She was the one that called and left the message. I talked to her. She set up a meeting. Greg Whiteley, the producer, and the crew came out for our spring game, our second year at Indy. So we already had played a whole year and had the best season in 30 years there. And so we ended up winning the last 5 games. But we come back, and, I wasn't really worried about the cameras following me. It was more the microphone, and I kind of knew that. But going into it, they came out, and I liked Greg. He was a genuine guy, and obviously I guess he liked me, man. And the rest is history. They offered, we accepted, and then they came back in the summer of 17. And we had the greatest year in Independence history. And so that kind of was what it was. So we went from there, and they wanted to come back again this past, 2018 year. So, of course, we opened our arms to them again, and that was it.
Gotcha. Did you watch last season?
Man, they send me the clip. They send me the show before it airs. Yeah. Usually they send it to me, and they send it to us as a staff. And I watched a few of the first 2 episodes with my boss just to see what we were going to take politically speaking and from the townsfolk and so forth. So we watched it kind of as a protective device, basically. But I didn't watch much beyond that. I still haven't seen the whole thing, seen bits and pieces here and there, but I haven't watched the show. And I don't know if I ever will, man, to be honest. I definitely probably won't watch this year's one. But, that's kind of how it is. I guess when you live it, I guess you're not really interested in watching yourself again. But I really am not. So
yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird watching yourself, too, I would say. Well, yeah, what was it like just camera following you around all the time?
you get used to it, man. And like I think that's what Greg told me. You know, he filmed Mick Romney and all these different people in his career, and he was like, JB, you're probably the most unfiltered person I've ever filmed in 30 years. And you know, that's the reason I think he liked being at Independence with us and following me. But the bottom line is that I don't really remember the cameras or realize they were ever there. I mean, the only thing I became cognizant of was the damn microphones, because I knew my mouth needed a soap bar every once in a while. So, you know, that's the reason I kind of cringed at the whole fucking Netflix thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And when you're like recruiting a player, like what's your pitch to get a player to your school, and like why do kids like to play for you?
You said it at the end. They like to play for me. It ain't about the fucking school, brother. I'm just going to be honest. I've been at some shitty places. I've been at Compton College where they got glass and it's spilled and the dirt, the track is dirt. You think people wanted to go there? Hell no. So it's all about selling yourself. If the kid believes in you as the person that's the figurehead of the program, I think you can have a kid follow you into war. But, you know, the bottom line is I sold myself, and I think being honest and truthful to these kids and telling them the truth, I think a lot of these kids, especially single-family parent kids, you know, they require it. They just don't know that they need the discipline. They don't know they need the truth to be told to them. But I think I've been that guy my whole life, man, and totally different off the field and out the office. But in the office, on the field, it's a different JB altogether, and that's the person that works towards results, because it's a results-oriented business, and that's kind of what it is. And I tell kids that and tell parents that. And so when I recruit them, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to graduate your kid. I'm going to get them a scholarship, and I'm going to do it faster than anybody in the country. And that's my word is bond, and that's what's happened. We broke several national records at Independence during my tenure. I think I already held some records prior to that in California anyway, getting kids scholarships. So the best thing that I say I do is getting kids a scholarship and getting them graduated.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have a number of how many kids you got D1 scholarships?
Yeah, total or at Independence?
Both.
Totally, I've had about 226 now to date, I think, after this past class.
Yeah.
At Independence in 3 years, basically, it was 101 Division I, 40 Power 5. We graduated every single football player that came through Independence during my tenure, and we had the highest GPA among football playing schools as well. So I think we did a pretty damn good job considering resources and things like that. So when we got to Independence, brother, I'm going to tell you, it was probably the worst junior college job in America. When I left there was 200 applicants for the head job. So the job became top 5, 10 junior college job in the country seemingly overnight.
Yeah, definitely impressive.
But it wasn't fucking easy, brother. It was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, let me tell you. I tore down brick walls and put in a weight room and fucking, you name it, painted walls and changed out the bathroom sitter and everything you can think of, I did. So it kind of fucking pisses me off that I left the place, too, because someone else gets to inherit my shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. And do you keep in contact with a lot of your former players?
Yeah, all the time. Talked to him, Jermaine Johnson, yesterday. As the number 1 player in the country last year. He's at Georgia. Probably going to start. I talked to Emmett Gooden, the number 1 D tackle at University of Tennessee. Rakeem Boyd, I talked to quite often on social media. He's probably the best running back in the SEC. I mean, so we had some players. There'll probably be 10, 11 players get drafted this coming draft off that first show. So there's guys on that show that you guys, they didn't really target either, like Delrick Abrams, a 6'4" corner at University of Colorado, will probably be a very, very highly draft pick. DJ Williams at Utah State is an All-American, preseason All-American, who had a great, stellar first season at Utah State. He was much bigger talent than Utah State. Not to knock Utah State, but his height sometimes hurts you, and you got to go group of 5, and I think that was a great program for him. He's a Power 5 kid, though. Make no mistake about it. He'll be drafted. So, like, we got guys all over the place, and, you know, Calvin Jackson's at Washington State, who's going to contribute very great there this year. He did a great job as a true junior last year. So we got guys all over. Malik Henry's going to probably start at University of Nevada this year at quarterback, which is a good spot for him. They throw the ball over the place. That's what Malik does best. And, you know, shit, we got 4 quarterbacks playing Division I in 3 years. So, like, it's a good situation for a lot of those kids. There's a lot of Jamal Scott, you know, he's at Southern Illinois playing, and he did a great job last year as a true junior. So, you know, there's a lot of kids, a lot of places, man. And I can go on and on and on about the players that we sent on. And so, you know, I'm excited to see what they do, and they'll all get drafted, and that's all I care about. Stay out of jail, fucking graduate, get your damn college degree, and go on and make some money if you're fortunate enough to.
Yeah, definitely. And you're coming out with a book, Hate Me Now, Love Me Later. What's the book about, and why are you coming out with a book?
Man, it's the #1 new release on Amazon, brother. You gotta Google some shit, man. What's up with that? How do you don't know that? It came out yesterday. It actually came out Friday. And it hit Amazon and Barnes and Nobles online. It'll be on Kindle, I think, today. But you can buy paperback or hardback. And it was the #1 new release over the weekend on Amazon. I think it still is right now, football biography wise. So I'm excited, man. I'm appreciative of all the fan base too that supported it. And it's just a tell-all book, man, about me and about people that wanted to know more about me from the show, and they got to see the show. But they filmed me basically 3,000 hours to put 8 hours of film together. And so I said, hey, strike while the iron's hot. Let me tell them about the more in-depth JB, and that's what I kind of did, and kind of talks about my rise, my demise, and my only rise again type of attitude. So that's kind of what it is, and in a nutshell, and that's what I put together, and we got it done really, really, really quickly, and got it published and got it out there. And Lynn Eddy is the publisher. She did a great job for me, and she's going to set me up on a book signing tour. And I'll be going all the way around the country, starting in San Diego, California, and I'll work my way up the California coast, and then I'll be headed out probably to, the Kansas City, Oklahoma areas where, we were kind of nestled in between where the show was very, very popular. So we'll be all over the place, though, and it's exciting times, and, we'll see how it goes.
Gotcha. You coming to the East Coast?
Yeah, I'll probably be on the East Coast, too. I think I got to come to New York or something at some point to do a book signing deal.
Yeah, definitely.
And,
Is there an audio book coming out?
You know what? People have been asking like crazy. I don't know. We're looking into it. I got to get us into a studio, I guess, and do it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to find out. If not, I'll definitely be doing a second book, and I'll probably be for surely doing audio, see how this one goes. And, I didn't know I was an author, but I guess overnight I'll become an author. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's a book worth of shit that people want to read, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just told the truth, man. I didn't really know how to write the shit like that, but, we got it done, and it's going to come out, and I think it'll shock a lot of people. It'll tell people the truth, and it'll be a good read for football advocates or general population. A lawyer or a businessman can read it and I think get something out of it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to definitely check it out. And do you want to coach again, and where would you want to coach?
Man, you know what? I don't know if I want to coach again. I'll be honest. Everybody's been asking me. I've been offered a few jobs before prior to me leaving, but I just don't know if I want to do it, man. I don't know if this generation can handle JB, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know if my heart's in coaching right now because, when I grew up playing, people didn't tell on their coaches. People didn't talk about what happened in the locker room. That was the ultimate intimate setting, man. It was a football locker room. So it changed. I think kids are soft as baby shit now. I think the parents are even softer, and I think the parents enable the shit out of these kids, and it's unfortunate because I don't think the kids have changed a lot. It's the fucking parents. Yeah. They're fucking horrible. So the parents changed these kids, and now coaches like us across the country, God bless us, have to deal with these fucks. You know what I mean? So that's the bottom line, and I love the shit out of my babies. I call all my kids my babies, but I love the hell out of them, man. But, only the ones that can handle me end up making it, and that's the ones that end up going to the NFL and 220 college graduates. And, out of 226 guys, man, I've had over 130 kids get their bachelor, and I've had 22 kids get their master's degree. Mm-hmm. Those are numbers that I keep in my head, and I know because those are things that are most important to me, allow me to sleep at night. So, I don't want to use these kids like a piece of meat like a lot of coaches do, unfortunately. Yeah. So we get the kids graduated, number one, and make sure they're good citizens, number two. And you never see my kids going to jail, brother. That's one thing you'll never see. My kids go to class, they graduate, and they know how the hell to act in a town. So that's what makes me tick.
Yeah, definitely. What advice would you give like a young football player trying to make it to the NFL?
He got to ask himself first, does he love football? Because everybody says, oh, they do. And then you ask them, when's the last pass you missed? Yesterday. And then you don't fucking love football. So that's basically what you got to ask yourself. Do you love football? Do I love football? And the truth of the matter is these kids don't understand that. I think that's the first question I asked a kid in a home when I went home visiting a kid and their parents. Does your kid love football? And then I kind of want to ask the parent before the kid. And then I ask the kid the same thing. Do you love football? And then I ask them, I want to see I want to see your attendance record. Not your grades. I want to see your attendance. Because grades don't reflect the kid's attitude. Grades we all have our shortcomings. We all struggle at something. We only know what we know and don't know what we don't know, man. But do do you fucking get up and go to class? And that's the number one thing. So if you miss class, then you don't deserve to practice for me, and then that ultimately you don't play for me, so you don't love football because your ass would have been in the front row of class and sitting there and shutting the hell up. But that's kind of how it goes, man. But, tell them, ask themselves if they love football. And then, what do they want out of it? They're going to have to ask their own questions because it's gone beyond getting on my knees and kissing these kids' asses to play for me. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to have to want it more than me. And I think that's become an everyday setting for coaches alike. I think people have to coach effort. You shouldn't have to coach effort, number one, and you shouldn't have to beg kids to be on time. If they love football, their ass will be there before you are and leave after you. So that's just kind of where I'm at, man, and basically my rant for this thing. But I think they got to love football, man, or don't even bother coming out.
Gotcha. All right, you ready for some fun questions? We're going to go from average to savage.
Sure.
What's your favorite song right now?
My favorite song? Shit. Since I'm from L.A., man, Nipsey Hussle just passed away out here, so probably a song called Check Me Out.
All right.
I would say that's probably number one right now. So check my book out, too, while you guys are out there doing nothing.
For sure. And what about, what's your dream coaching job like, say, before you said you lost your love for coaching?
Probably L.A. school, man. UCLA, USC, something here local. I'm from here, so obviously I would love to live in L.A. and make good money. But probably one of those schools would probably be my dream. I grew up a UCLA fan. I still am a UCLA fan over USC, but either job, I mean, you're not a fan anymore.
Yeah.
People fucking pay you,
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. All right, last one. Who's a better coach, you or Buddy Stevens?
Who's a better coach? Well, hey, brother, it's a results-oriented business. He's won a lot of championships. Barring it's a shitty-ass league, I'm going to be honest. I don't think this is the truth of the matter. Buddy has a setup there, and it was something that we were building at Independence to kind of model East Mississippi. Buddy didn't have to coach anything. Buddy was a CEO. Buddy fucking slept around all day while his coaches coached and worked. I was a hands-on guy. I had to call the offense, implement the offense, coach. I had to help out on defense. I had to do everything because we were a program on the rise and had to do a lot of things. Buddy's thing was a well-oiled machine already, so it's hard to gauge. But he's won titles, so you have to say he is. But if he ever wanted to get on the board in the office, fucking bring it my way. I tell you that. But that's with anybody in the country, to be honest. But I think every coach in America will tell you that, too, who knows me. But, people don't realize that they just see shit on show and, that's a shitty call. Well, yeah. You don't know I had to get my fucking kid out of jail and get him to math class the day before 8-2. So, but anyway, that's a whole nother story. And, hey, it's results-oriented, man. I can't be a liar. He's won titles. And, we won a bowl game in Independence, and it was a great year. And I think that team, I would have loved to play that East Mississippi that year. I think we would have beat anybody in the country. But be that as it may, man, we'll see how it goes from here and what ends up coming down the road.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate you coming on and let people know where they can follow you and get your book at.
I appreciate you. Oh, it's on Amazon.com and on BarnesandNoble.com. You can find the links. Pretty much Hate Me Now, Love Me Later. Just search it in Amazon. It's too long of a link to give you, but, it's on those two. It'll be on Kindle shortly. And The Real Coach JB is my website. So you can check out www.therealcoachjb.com and check me out on there, and it'll have some information on there as well. And I'll be doing some speaking engagements and the book signing tour here shortly. And, I've been getting a lot of pretty good reviews, man, on the book and people wanting to hear me talk to them. So I love motivating people, man, young people, and hopefully I can save somebody down the line. And if I can just save one, it'll be worth it at the end of the day.
Definitely. Appreciate you coming on again.
All right, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, tip.